Something different, and it's pretty spectacular, you have to say that. The crowd in front of us are certainly enjoying it. Obiri now, there's just dropped a little bit the pace. Still nothing fast, really fast for these women normally, but it's hot out there. It's a completely different type of atmosphere for them as they run around the top end, around the building. That's a tight 90-degree turn with a high banking. I have to say, Ejike Ote, who had only run 14.53 before the beginning of 2021, and she, behind NIYONSABA, broke the Ethiopian national record, 8.19, which says something if you're breaking Ethiopian national records at 3,000 meters. So that's something which has stood her really good stead in the second half of this season, because despite her brilliant performance in the Ethiopian trials when she ran 14.14, didn't quite live up to that in the Olympics. Finished fifth, that's no, you know, it's a brilliant field, finished fifth, but I think that performance in Paris just showed her potential. So she now takes it on. Taye, the 21-year-old Ethiopian, as they come round now with just 2 laps to go, but that's well over 1,000 meters, so more than 2.5 laps of a normal track. And it hasn't really started to get moving here. Kipkembo on the shoulder, Beery just took it, NIYONSABA on her outside.
Well, these 5 beginning to get away, and Taye just had a little glance over her left shoulder there to see what sort of damage this little surge has done. But Kipkembo is deep, looks quite comfortable on her shoulder, and NIYONSABA there in the orange, just loping along towards the back of the group. We know she's got several gears to go through yet. Obiri on the inside, holding that inside line and running the shortest line, if you like, around these various bends. Has such an unusual style, Obiri, really flopping with the arm. She has a long, languid stride for not a particularly tall athlete, but covers the ground so well. She is, prior to NIYONSABA of recent weeks, the big kicker, really.
I was just going to ask you this question. Where would you do your kick on this? Because round about there, we think as they come around this that previous turn is about 300 to go, we think. And then as they come around another 90-degree turn, maybe about almost approaching 200 meters, maybe about 180, 190 from here. So do you wait to here? There's one slight bend again to the finish. So they're on their penultimate lap here. Where do you do your big kick here?
Well, it's a very good question, Simon. You've run road miles where it's almost an optical illusion when you run dead straight. You see the finish and you think, right, I'm going to start sprinting now, and it never gets any closer, and you misjudge it completely. It's an optical illusion. Well, they're on the home straight now for the penultimate time. But you're right, I reckon it's 180 meters long, something like that, maybe 190 meters long. So it'd be very tempting to go too early. I would leave it until after that final bend.
NIYONSABA wants to just try and control this. So at the bell, 563 meters exactly to go. NIYONSABA leading. Then they'll go around this tight turn into the long back straight, and then the 2 90-degree turns. The cameras are out, the phones are out, and now NIYONSABA just stretching them, hasn't really started kicking here. Obiri just looks as though she's struggling, but now moves out, wants to go past Kipkembo and Taye. Taye still looks really comfortable. She doesn't have as good a kick as some of the others, but it's going to be who goes first here, I think.
Well, there's an element of patience here, and tactics are employed, of course, always in middle distance and 5,000-meter running, but how do you apply tactics on such an unusual circuit? Here they take this corner, now they go, what, about 80 meters, and then they take another sharp turn, and they're into the home straight, that 200-meter sprint, nearly 200-meter sprint team. Obiri looks like she's going early, but is NIYONSABA going to control it?
Yeah, holding her off. Obiri's made it difficult for herself, having to go wide on the bends here, trying to use the camber to give her a bit of a lift off that bend, and Obiri now stretching out NIYONSABA, but NIYONSABA responds as they come round one slight bend here, and there'll be about 100 meters to go. Crowd around their feet here, cheering them in. It's NIYONSABA and Obiri. It's going to be very, very tight here. NIYONSABA just has the advantage, so starts to move away, increases her lead. It's NIYONSABA with the strength and the speed to come away from Helen Obiri. It'll be another wonderful victory for NIYONSABA. 14:28.98. They really picked up over the last kilometre. Fast last kilometre, as expected. Helen Obiri having to settle for second again. And NIYONSABA building her reputation in the distance events now. Shows that she's capable at 3,000, 5,000, and indeed 10,000. And she even began the season, I think, running cross-country as well. But that 14:28.98 clocking, not a personal best, because she set that in Brussels just over a week or so ago. But good Smart running. She controlled it, Tim, didn't she? She got to the front, and I think that's smart on those wide bends. What you don't want to be doing is trying to attack wide in those last two bends, which Helen Obiri tried to do.
Well, NIYONSABA has got the strength and the stamina to control races and dominate them, frankly. And very, very few people in the world, maybe Sifan Hassan, I'm not sure anybody else, maybe Guide, could hold off Obiri in about 150, 160 metre home straight like that. Somewhat bizarrely, the finish line is about 30 metres before the big arch at the end of the home straight. So it's one of those deceptive finish lines, a bit like the Stockholm track, the old Olympic Stadium in the Swedish capital. But NIYONSABA there has got the ability just to bide her time and then kick. And the last kilometre, 2:44, that probably doesn't contain all the information we need, which is to say that really the finishing speed over the last couple of hundred by this pair was quite fantastic. Drew them clear. Taye was able to stay close to them, but Kipkemboi a little way back. NIYONSABA has really got it dialed in, hasn't she? This ability to kick and hold off the big names.
I really wonder now what will happen. I mean, we're not here tonight to have a whole discussion around DSD, but just for people to understand that the events that were chosen were based on the evidence that was available, based on the athletes who were running at the time in those events. And obviously NIYONSABA has moved up into the longer distances, and whether or not there will also be and hopefully from her point of view she won't want that to be the case, but every time she runs and competes again at the longer distances, it provides the evidence perhaps that was the same situation we had in the 800 and 1500 metres. So that's one to watch. And she's the Diamond League champion for the 2021 season, a season that's been difficult for all athletes for all sorts of reasons and to organisers as well, but this one here, you're finishing with something special, something different, and we've certainly seen that NIYONSABA has produced a season for her to remember. Disappointment at the Olympic Games after disqualification, I'm sure, but these last 3-4 weeks have given her a lot to celebrate and a lot to ponder as well as she goes into next year.
Well, there's a three-pronged benefit to winning. You get that glorious Diamond League trophy, and those are precious, believe me. She gets 30,000